I'll call Public Works Committee meeting to order. Roll call.
Cindy,
Here.
Seth,
Here.
Todd will not be here. Andrew
Here.
and Crystal.
Here. Okay. First period for public comment. No one is here. Anyone online want to make a comment? Okey doke. Approval of committee minutes from July 1st, 2025. Oh, boy. Seth or AJ, you want to approve the committee minutes?
This is AJ. I make a motion to approve the minutes from July 1, 2025.
This is Seth, I second that.
Motion by AJ, second by Seth. All in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye. Motion carries. Aye from you, Crystal? Okay. Now I need to look up here. Review and approval of pay. No, that's one we're skipping. Okay, number 5, discussion with possible action on approval of water rate increase for 2025.
Okay, well, that is me. And we are going for our annual water increase. We've been doing this since 2018, and we've done 4 simplified rate increases, or SRCs. The last one was effective September 1st, 24. And unlike the sewer utility, the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin, or the PSC, regulates the water utility. There are 2 ways to apply for a rate increase, and I am just going to briefly go through it just because I believe Seth was not here the last time we passed this, although I'm not entirely sure. But just to kind of refresh everybody's minds, an SRC and a conventional rate case are the 2 that we can use. A conventional rate case requires the PSC to do an in-depth analysis of our revenues, operation, maintenance expenses, as well as value our assets, the age and depreciation of the assets, debt, and anticipated construction projects for our wells, towers, and water mains. Conventional rate case is labor intensive. It involves public meetings and usually takes 10 to 12 months to complete. Yeah. It's mostly labor intensive on myself and our billing clerk, Sarah, if we do one sooner or later. The last conventional rate increase was 2013 with a 26% rate increase at a cost of $9,300 to the utility. I anticipate that being much higher when we have to go to a future one. A conventional rate increase can result in double-digit increases if smaller rate increases are not done between the conventional rate cases. An SRC is a simple application that uses the annual report submitted to the PSC in May and looks at the water revenue, less operation and maintenance expenses, and depreciation. An SRC is a way for utilities to do inflationary increases so customers benefit from smaller, more frequent increases rather than a large increase to have to absorb to the family budget. An SRC application usually takes about 2 months and costs around $600, and I am able to do the entire application process. Utility is able to do an SRC as long as the cumulative percentage increases do not exceed 40% of our last conventional rate increase, which was again 2013. With this increase that I'm asking for, if approved, we would be sitting at 20.6%. So we still have a lot of room to grow with the SRCs. By doing the last 4 small inflationary increases and being responsible with our spending, we were able to build a stronger balance in our savings for large unplanned expenses while maintaining a positive cash flow and take advantage of the favorable interest rates for the past few years. For the Sevener Avenue project, in lieu of taking out interim financing, I will be able to use a combination of funds in the local government investment pool and a money market account. So this, of course, will save on interest expense and closing costs. The PSC sets the rate of return, or ROR, annually for all utilities. Annually, the PSC looks at the utility costs of running the business and maintaining their assets while protecting the customer from excessive rates. The PSC then sets a target rate of return for the utility to be able to sufficiently run operations and maintain their assets. For 2025, the PSC set the target ROR at 6.2%. After the target ROR is set, the PSC then sets the annual rate increase utilities would be able to receive through an SRC application. This rate is lower than the target ROR, but again, it is meant to give utilities the ability to maintain their cash flow to cover inflation, as well as increase funds available for maintaining their investments while keeping the increase as low as possible for customers. For 2025, the increase the PSC set is 3%. And I do want to mention, I mention this every year, but I do want to mention it's important to understand that even doing SRC rate increases does not necessarily mean that we would not eventually have to do a conventional rate increase in the future. If we had a large construction project, such as a new well, tower, or large water main project, and are unable to secure enough grant funding, this may require a full conventional rate increase. However, by doing regular SRCs, this will help cushion the larger rate increase. For example, if instead of doing a 25% rate increase, the utility may need to only do a 10% increase to cover the large construction project. So Viroqua Utilities annual PSC water rate of return for 2024 was 3.49%. Prior to 2018 and implementing regular inflationary increases, our rate of return was 2.97%. While this may not seem like we have gained much in the past 6 years, we actually have, and the utility is in a much stronger financial position with stronger cash reserves and cash on hand, all while we had to navigate the high inflation rates during and after the pandemic. So before looking, I just want to let you guys know I did take into consideration before looking at doing any increases, the impact that the new apartment building would have on our revenue. And I did estimate the water utility will gain an additional $14,900 in annual revenue. While this is good news, the water utility received less grant funding than anticipated for the Center Avenue project, and the water utility share in 26 will be absorbed, or the additional revenue from this new apartment building will be absorbed with the increase of our share of the Center Avenue project. So as Sarah's got on here, if the water utility does a 3% increase, the increase would be effective October 1st, and the base rate would increase 33 cents per month for a 5/8 inch meter and 17 cents per month for 100 cubic feet of water usage. With the 3% increase, as Sarah's sharing here, the Viroqua Utilities is dab smack in the center of our surrounding communities that we have been comparing to in the past. So, and even with us being in the center, we're still pretty close to several of the utilities. So I felt that that was a pretty good position to be in. I did do some little notes on the side just to, kind of give myself and you an understanding of a little bit what's on the utility minds of the surrounding community. My spreadsheets, I will be more than willing to share with you after, tomorrow or something. I can send them out. If you have any questions, you can give me a call on any of this. But moving down the spreadsheet, I did the rate for the base fee according to meter. Even though 85% of our customers are on a 5/8 inch meter, some of our larger customers are on the larger meters. So it was important, I felt, for you to see all of the impact on all of our meters for base rate. I did an average usage based on the 5/8 inch meter, using the average rate of all of the customers in that little category there. So 100 cubic feet customer in usage would go up 13 cents. The 200 feet, 26 cents. A commercial customer with an average of 600 cubic feet would be up 78 cents. And then we do have some larger customers in the industrial. The largest customer of the industrial is way ahead. So I took those out of which we'll see below. I took them out of the calculation. So the other 9 industrial customers we have, their average is 2,600 cubic feet. So their water usage increase would be $3.38, I believe. is that 88? Nope, 38. So what the impact is on our largest customers would be relatively small comparing to what they have. Yeah, just real quick.
Sorry.
No, that's okay, Sarah. You are used to me cruising along here. I did do the largest customers as I have in the past of each customer type. And, you know, let's say the Vernon County Jail, their average is 23,800 cubic feet a month. The increase, including their meter-based increase, would be $40.71 a month. So not terrible. It's an increase, you know, definitely annually, but not as big an impact if we didn't do anything and had a larger increase down the road. On the, so the, yep, nope. The impact. I just need to catch up with Sarah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You are perfect. You are perfect. What I wanted
Can I ask
to,
a question? You're on a roll. But
yeah,
why does
absolutely.
Nelson's, why is theirs so darn high?
Because they are back up and running. They started a third shift again, 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Yep,
Nelson's, I know,
Global.
but that's just, it's so much higher than like
They go through a lot of water. Mostly
Yeah.
it's because they need to keep their machines cool.
it's for the machines.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know how this works, but I do know when I toured the plant several years ago, I used to work for Nelson Global years and years and years ago, and came up and did inventory at Nelson and did some things in the plant. I worked in the Stoughton base headquarters. Their water, they use a lot of water to keep the machines cool.
Hmm.
I was surprised, but that's about the extent I know.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Sure.
Sorry to interrupt.
It is surprising how much they are, but they can go through, in the summer, they can go through 100,000 cubic feet.
Wow.
In the winter, they've been averaging 40 to 50,000. They were quite lower during the pandemic. I'm not sure why, probably because everything got tight and
Shut down.
they weren't ordering as much, and yeah, things were shut down, but they're back up to normal prior to the pandemic.
Okay, sorry, continue.
No, good question. I just wanted to show you guys real quick the effect on the budget. Thank you, Sarah. With the original budget we had for 2025, we did predict a revenue over expenditures of 234,329. Because we're doing the rate increase so late in the year, I did include the 26 budget, which is just a projected budget. The 3% increase for the last 3 months will increase our revenue $68,250 versus the $58,582, so roughly $10,000. The bigger increase, of course, will show on the 26 difference, which if we didn't do the 3%, we have a projected net income of 164,514. With the 3% increase, it's 203,634. You will see a little bit skewed here and there. If you notice that the 26 revenue over expenditures is actually lower than the 25 budget, that is because the Center Avenue Safe Drinking Water loan will add another 52,840 in debt. So that will be a debt payment, and that will have to come off. So on the water increase, is there any questions so far? Anything you would like me to add?
Seth, AJ, you have any questions about what she's talking about?
No, I appreciate all that info on how we land on our increases.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Remind me again, is this mandatory? Like, do we have to do the increase?
We do not have to do the increase. It is not mandatory. It is
Ah.
something that Sarah Granger and I talked about back in 18, and believe that one of the ways to keep growing our reserves and keep growing our financial position and become a more stable utility is to do these smaller inflationary increases that the PSC offers rather than wait until we are at a point where we're having a net loss or we have some large unexpected expense come up and then we have to borrow for it.
Are you guys able to see the charts or you're driving?
I can see a little bit of the charts, but I am driving, yes.
Okay.
I'm driving as well, but the explanation was
Yeah.
pretty much
Uh,
on
what
the
I'm-
money.
Point out that was Soldiers Grove that had such a humongous increase. And there are several of them on this chart that had humongous increases because they haven't been doing this kind of thing. They just kicking it down the road
Mhm.
and now they're really hurting.
Yes, that, and especially if you don't do the inflationary increases and then you have a large project such as Soldiers Grove is having some big construction projects happening. It does really have a big impact on the customer. As Sarah knows. Sarah lives in Soldiers Grove.
And 33 cents is per month on
Yeah.
that was the 100 cubic feet. It's not it's very easy to accept, I would say, or swallow or whatever. Yeah. So
It's
Yeah,
easy.
I would agree that that smaller increment is a way less budgetary problem for, I would think, most,
Mhm.
than like a 20%, 30% bump.
yep.
Well, if there are no more questions, I would just like to ask the committee if they would like to move forward with the 3% increase, and I am looking for the approval to move it forward to council.
This is Crystal, and I would move approval of the water rate increase for 2025 and move that forward to the council.
AJ, I'll second.
Seth,
Aye.
Andrew,
Aye.
Crystal,
Aye.
and Cindy.
So much like the water increase, we did start doing inflationary increases back in 2023. For a long time, the last big rate increase we did in 2016 for the wastewater treatment plant did sustain us. However, just with expenses growing as they are and the need for some more construction projects, we were finding that our reserves were starting to become less and less, and our financial stability was not where we wanted it to be. So we did start doing inflationary increases, and unlike the water utility, which is governed again by the Public Service Commission, the sewer utility is actually governed by ordinances and the Public Works Committee. To be fair to the customers, we have consistently applied the regulations and the state statutes to the sewer utility as closely as we could, like we do the water utility, and just to have better business practices and have a better business model. Since we started doing the inflationary increases, we had a 5% in 2023 and a 4.1% in August 2024. For the years of 2020, 2021, and 2022, the sewer utility actually had a net loss. After the 2023 and 24 increase, the sewer utility had a net income of $107,000 in 23 and $157,000 in 24. While the increase in rates certainly contributed to the net income, the sewer utility also has continued to look for ways to reduce our spending while making the sewer operations more efficient. However, to continue to build our cash reserves up for large unplanned expenses and project costs not granted by not covered by grant funding, we feel we do need to continue to seek annual increases. I estimate the impact from the new apartment building to be an additional $29,400 per year, which is great news for the sewer utility. However, in the first year, this revenue will be absorbed by a shortfall of grant funding. Good with the bad, right? Of grant funding for the Center Avenue project, which will be approximately $89,000. The Center Avenue project will also need interim funding. And so again, like the water utility, in lieu of taking out a loan for the interim funding, I will be able to use a combination of the local government investment pool funds and a money market account. So this will again save on interest and closing costs. The 2024-25 sewer project will be short grant funds of approximately $170,000, which will be coming out of our capital project reserve fund. The sewer utility also needs to replace a lift station in the next few years, sooner rather than later, for approximately $500,000. So complicating the matters even more is that the next 4 years, the sewer utility has very little room for increasing our debt, meaning we are going to have to rely on our reserve accounts. Thus doing and continuing to do these annual increases will help our sewer utility be in a better financial position. So the sewer increase, or excuse me, the water increase this year would be 3%. For sewer increase, I did a 3% and a 5%. I did that because I wanted to see the difference between going up another 2%, how that would impact the revenue as far as impact, and as well as impact our customers. So you can see if we go up 3%, we are still on the bottom half of the surrounding communities. And if we did the 5%, we are still on the bottom half of the surrounding communities,
Could
just
you-
up one.
I'm interrupting you, but could you
Yeah.
read the Cashton one for Seth and AJ?
Sure.
Or, you know, whatever one you want, but that's the
Absolutely.
one that grabs my attention.
Yes. So Cashton
You could scroll.
underwent a large wastewater treatment plant upgrade, and they had to take out a large amount of debt. So their sewer utility has rates that are much higher than any of the surrounding communities. The monthly charge on 300 cubic feet would be 68. I have to get my thing. I can't read that. far.
$63.
$63.70. The next highest would be Gays Mills, and that's 58.89.
Broke was 37.46.
Right. So
And with the raise.
we've done a
3%.
really good job of identifying when we've really needed to go for these increases. And I'm not saying anything against the other utilities because they've had numerous different things come up. But it does help when you do increases as needed. So like Cashton's last one was 2018, but they'll stay that way for a long time. But if you see Gays Mills, Reedstown, Lafarge, Richland Center, Viola, they've all had larger increases in the last year or two due to the fact that they've either had large projects or they weren't keeping up with costs. Coon Valley, Westby, and Hillsborough. I'm not sure about Coon Valley and Westby, but I know Hillsborough does annual inflation increases as well. And their last one was in February. Their expenses are slightly lower than ours, but we're still paying for their $10 million treatment plant. So that is something that, you know, we have to keep in the back of our minds. Yeah.
Which is a 40-year schedule
Yeah, it's a
too.
40-year plan.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I thought it might be helpful for them to hear this since they
Absolutely.
can't see. it.
I think
Absolutely.
also when I look at this, one thing is like where we land on the list, but the other, when you look at the water, we're kind of in the middle, like it's about $10 more and $10 under. Whereas this one, even though we're close to the bottom, we're all very close in rate, like within $2. But then if you look at the top end, it goes all the way up to 25. So it's kind of skewed a little bit. We're significantly lower.
Mm-hmm. And if we just scroll on down, the sewer base is not based on meter cost. It is based on a one lump sum. And if we do a 3%, it goes up 57 cents. If we do a 5%, it goes up 94 cents. And then of course I did the breakout like the water per month. Yep. I did the breakout like the water for our average usage. according to just various different water usages and customers. For example, the 100 cubic feet would, at a 3% would go up 19 cents per month. At a 5% would go up 31 cents per month. The largest customers in each class, Vernon Memorial would go up $119.09 at a 3%, $198.49 at a 5%. So it does impact our largest customers a little more than it would the rest of our customer base. The annual revenue savings at the bottom there, or not revenue savings, but additional revenue. If we did a 3%, we would have an additional revenue of $4,065 on a 3%, or a total annual of $48,788. And at a 5%, we would have additional revenue of $6,776 per month, or $81,315 annually. Oh, go back over to the sewer comparison.
That's why I can't. find
Yep,
it.
that's okay. And just kind of go down a little bit more. There we go. So then if we go over to the budget impact, like the water, I put in our impact for the remaining 3 months of 25 and the 12 months of 26. And I did do again the 3% and the 5%. The position of the 3% and the 5%, obviously the 5% does put us in a better financial position significantly. It adds up over the 12 months. Again, like $81,000 or so, but you can see the impact that it has. And I'm sorry you guys can't, for you guys too who are driving, the 3%, and we'll just do the annual. The 3%, if we do not do an increase, we would have an anticipated revenue over expenditures of $218,001. If we did a 3%, it would be at $270,145. And if we did a 5%, the additional revenue would be net income would be $304,891. So then before we move on to approving this, whichever rate and asking questions, I did want to just do another little quick spreadsheet of the water and sewer budget impact of doing the rate increase together. It's not as drastic as even I thought it would be. And in doing this little table, I was, I don't want to say pleasantly surprised, but I was hopeful that our customers could absorb this easily or easier while giving us the best impact on our revenue. So at the bottom, I did the total increase in water and sewer for the average customer. I followed the same average customers that we've been using in water and sewer. And if we go down a little bit more, there we go. So for example, an average customer, residential customer using 100 cubic feet of water at a 5/8 inch meter, which again, 85% of our customers have. If we did a 3% increase for both water and sewer, it would be $1.14. And that would be including water, sewer, base, and the usage per month. If we did a 5%, it would be $1.63. So not that big of a difference. Do see a little bit different impact when we go up to the industrial at the bottom of 2,600 cubic feet of water, but again, not a drastic difference in rates. $9.14 at a 3%, and 5% sewer would be $12.62 additional per month.
So Cheryl, what was the hospital where it was 101 to 198 or something like that? What was that?
Let's see here.
That was the last.
Hospital would be,
With that The annual versus by month, was that what the,
No, are you talking in the sewer?
yeah.
I
Cause
just want to
this
make
doesn't
sure I
look-
give you the
this
right
doesn't look
answer.
bad, so I'm just curious what the other one.
No, that's okay. The Vernon Memorial Hospital was $198.49 per month increase at the 5% for sewer.
These numbers you just talked about, you did 3 and 5, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you just didn't do the hospital's rates then just now when you gave us that.
Not with together. I just did, although we could figure it out real quick. I don't have a calculator on me, but
No, that's okay. I just
It was-
curious why
no,
it
that's
sounded
okay.
so much better the second time than when you.
I
told
know,
me.
right?
Yeah,
So roughly 200 plus 37. So roughly $240 at the 5% versus too many papers. Versus $60 or so. So I mean, for our biggest customers, it is a bigger impact. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Out of curiosity,
Sure.
I'm sure there's many efficiencies to us reviewing these rate increases at the same time. Had there ever been thought of that we adjust the water rate 6 months separate from when we adjust the sewer rate? Or is that a lot?
When we started doing these, the water increases are pretty standard from the PSC. You have to wait till your annual report comes out, and then you have to wait until the PSC publishes their approved rate of return for the year and their annual increase percentage for the year. And then you have roughly 2 months and so forth. So you're usually looking at fall. The sewer rate increase we can do anytime we want. The first 2 times we did do 3 months separately, is 3 months apart. In 23 and 24, we did them just a month apart. Honestly, it's better if we did stagger them at 6 months apart. It would be probably a little less of an impact on the customer. However, we chose to do them both at the same time. One, because sewer is in need of additional funding. And we have found that a number of calls we get from customers, if like last year when we staggered them just a month apart, we got more calls the second month because they didn't quite understand the water went up.
Why there was 2 increases on their bill, I'm sure. No, and that makes sense. It's probably best to just rip the Band-Aid off than having to have them question 2 different
Right.
increase amounts. So, no, I just was curious if it was required or what the efficiencies were. I don't really argue with doing it at one time, but just
Sure.
curious.
That is definitely something we can look towards in the future. Absolutely. We can keep that in mind. Are there any other questions?
So the difference in the 5% and the 3%, I remember the 304,000 for 5%. Did you write it down, Crystal?
So the impact
Yeah,
would
it
be,
was 270
I have it here somewhere.
something, I think.
Right. The net impact, which may be a little easier, the 3% net impact annually would be 48,788. The 5% impact would be 315 at the 5%. So it would give us roughly 34,000 more a year at the
Okay.
5%.
So I know a lot of work has went into your numbers, and I appreciate it. I guess my thought maybe would be, and I'm just putting it out there, would we look at doing a 3% increase on sewer now and then set a scheduled date to review in April for a another 3% increase on sewer? Or
Sure.
is that crazy that I'm putting something like that out there?
Actually, that's a really, good idea. We could do the 3% now and then again in April, look at it or get ready to do another 3% increase. And then that way we would kind of be on the every 6 month schedule. Like
Sure.
annually in April, we could look at doing a sewer increase. And then in the fall, October, November, we could look at doing the water increase.
I guess I'm not for sure how to word that in a motion, but that would be my desire for us to move forward with the 3% onto committee at this time and have it on the docket to review again in the spring for a second 3% increase.
So that's just for the sewer?
That would be just for the sewer. The water is pretty mandated.
Yeah.
It's all by state statutes.
Okay. So you want, your motion is to do the water or send on to council to approve the water increase as stated by.
At 3%,
Yeah.
I'm so-
but to include
you've
a
been-
scheduled
Okay,
review for April or whatever makes the most sense 6 months from now for an additional 3%.
okay. Motion by Seth,
This is Crystal. I'd second, because I was gonna go for the 5% originally, but this is probably a better way to do it.
Mhm.
Thank you, Seth. We're gonna have some aging infrastructure, and we've got that lift station sitting out there that's $500,000. So I think we need to do it.
okay, motion by Seth, second by Crystal, yes. So, any more discussion or questions? Okay, roll call.
Andrew,
Aye.
Crystal,
Aye.
Cindy.
Aye.
And Seth.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Nate?
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thank you, Jim.
Since we're anticipating quite a few people for Park and Rec, and because they're probably going to start trickling in, I would recommend going to the closed session first so that it's less people to shuffle in and out.
Confirm motion to go to closed session?
This is Seth. I make a motion, we go to closed session.
Sorry, first I have to read it. Possible closed session per Wisconsin Stats 19.85 1C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governing body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, auxiliary worker review.
Cheryl, just wait until we actually okay, go ahead. Just
Motion by Seth to go into closed session. Do we have a second?
Crystal, I'll second.
Second by Crystal. Roll call, please.
Crystal,
Aye.
Cindy,
Aye.
Seth,
Aye.
and Andrew.
Aye.
Is the recording stopped?
Nope.
Okay.
Not
No,
yet.
certainly has not. Because I was over there. My computer's here. All right. Let's see. Sarah, do you want to kill your share screen, please? And recording.
Okay, we're out of closed session. Reconvene in open session with possible action on items discussed during closed session.
This is Crystal. I would move that we take action as discussed in closed session.
Okay, motion by Crystal,
Say AJ, I'll second.
second by by AJ. Roll call.
Seth,
Aye.
Andrew.
Aye.
Crystal
Aye.
and Cindy.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Construction, let's see, what did we skip? Oh, review of 2025 Public Works budget and action on budget goals for 2026. 18 minutes.
So yeah, I don't know if anybody in particular has any budget goals. Can tell you what my budget goals are, and they're kind of not that exciting, but also very hard. Which would be trying to maintain our current level of service and still look at being able to provide our employees with an increase as we've talked about across the board. The one thing I am struggling with is trying to figure out what that makes sense to be, because I know they're asking us as department heads what we want to put forward, but I was hoping I'd understand sort of better about like what we wanted as a city, and then kind of come back so that we're appropriately placed amongst our other departments, but we can talk through that. I don't know if you guys have anything else or any input.
I do. I was just reading in our book here, which was really a little depressing because they're anticipating in general transportation a decrease. And they've got anywhere from, well, it's around 2%, I think, but that's a huge amount.
That's huge.
So I concur with what Sarah says. I just think we need to be very careful on our project stuff going forward. Sorry.
As usual, even our salt has gone up,
I
you
know.
know, so it's like even just maintaining what we have is not going to be easy.
So did you have anything else you wanted to discuss about that or throw
Not
out any
really.
of your
Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'd like to see more road or this, and it's
Yeah.
like I if I can maintain the status quo, that it would be my goal.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Okay. You want to move on then?
Unless anybody has anything else they
Okay.
want to add.
Construction project updates.
Well, we don't really have a lot going on with our construction projects, except for the fact that we did construct our first phase of the landfill gas mitigation. The construction went well. We are seeing gas coming to the vents, but not as much as we were hoping. So we're just gonna give it time because unfortunately we do have to give it time. So we're gonna be circling back at the end of the week, and Mike is saying we really need to give it basically 3 weeks to see what happens. So
How far did you guys end up having to dig?
yeah, so the first 30 feet we hit sandstone, so hard rock. So we didn't put anything in there, obviously. And then the next about 50 feet, we got 10 feet down. So, we have a cover layer. And so then we had about like 5-ish feet of garbage. And then we could actually get to the natural soil underneath. And then that next like 150 feet, we were getting 15 feet down and we couldn't reach natural soil. And we couldn't keep the trench open to go deeper. Basically, 15 feet was kind of like our cutoff. But we do have a much better idea of what's in there. That's for sure. We know that the vents that are on highest areas are getting the gas, the highest level of gas, meaning it is doing what it's supposed to be doing, which it means it's moving through the rock. But we definitely would so we didn't actually install the last 80 feet. We got to the road that they had, and we just said, like, looking at the topography, we're not going to gain a lot here. And we'd like to try to go, we're probably going to go another direction, like possibly another form of like wells, possibly, but also like physically changing our direction as opposed to going along the outside. But more to come. We're learning, but the construction went very smoothly.
Okay. Anybody else have any construction project update questions? Okay, street and utility department updates.
Sure. I'm just gonna go through the guys' stuff. They're finishing up this is utilities. They're finishing up jetting, lift station maintenance. They're digging and repairing curb stops tomorrow, and meter posts and changes. And on
Jetting means fire hydrants, right?
no, actually it means cleaning the sewer.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it is a standard practice that we have. We do it annually, and then we have hot spots that we hit. Well, yeah, we can sometimes do it more than annually, twice a year, depending on how far we get. In terms of the street department, they've been doing a lot of mowing and sweeping. They started so if you remember, we did 2 feet removal of the material at the sand shed in order to save costs. So they've got that going. And actually, speaking of construction projects, the salt shed, they are working on the footer area. They were helping with out at the landfill, doing compost patching and street work. So that's a quick overview.
Okay, thank you. Cheryl?
Well, of course, I've been working on the rate increases in the budget. I'm also wrapping up the lead service line grant reimbursement. So I'm in the process of getting all the approvals signed, all the applications, all the forms that are needed to be signed. And I had hoped on getting that wrapped up by today, but that's not going to happen. So my new goal is Friday. I gotta get with Sarah on a couple of things yet, but it's looking good to go. So, I mean, it should be just a matter of a week or so, and we should have money in hands by mid-August. So,
That's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yay, finally.
And thank you for that briefing on the sewer rate and water rate increase. That was very good. Thank you. Yeah, that's very good. Okay, anybody else have any questions about these updates? Okay, second period for public comment. I bet you all are here for something else.
Yeah.
You don't want to know about the sewer?
I'll tell you what.
Okay, anybody online want to talk about the sewer? No. Okay. Second, adjournment.
Say AJ make a motion to adjourn.
This is Crystal. I'll second that.
Motion by AJ, second by Crystal. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you very